Good evening and welcome to the Gransberry Chronicles Weekly Pick'em Week 9. It's your girl, the Gransberry, and we are going live tonight. Look, we all need some type of humor, fun, and sports after such a tough week of elections, right? And it's still not over. But guess what? We're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about all the teams, some a little longer than others, some we're going to get out the way. But we can't start without saying what's up to my guys and especially with an extra guest tonight. So, as always, usually I would say B Pat is on my left, but tonight he down in the bottom, similar to his status right now, last place. You know how I do. He's staying last place, as you know. D Jones on my left, that's my boy. He's still in first. And as always, your girl is in first because I'm the only lady on the show. And then, as my guys always say, whose name's on the show? Oh, mine. Okay, so I'm not in last place. But I really want to give a shout out to Q. Q is from Beyond the Game, show out of Kentucky. I'm a guest on his show often. I'm glad he finally gets to return the favor and talk a little sports with us. You know, we haven't been able to connect on some topics, but he's a Tampa Bay fan,
Yes,
a true
sir.
Tampa Bay fan.
Yes, sir.
One before the whole Brady show
You know what
up.
I'm saying?
So this is going to be a fun night since that's our game of the week. But before we get started, we're going to give a brief COVID update. You know, there's some concerns out of San Fran. You know, they got a COVID scare going on. Matthew Stafford tested positive for sure out of Detroit. Those games are still a go, but, you know, COVID has us all looking at football a little differently. The NFL is even considering adding a few teams to the playoffs due to if games are canceled late. So look, guys, COVID is not over. Masks are still needed, even for people that think they don't need one. Plus, sometimes don't you just not want to have to look at people? I think masks would be a good way to not have to look at them. That's what I would do. Cover up.
Going.
Keep it going. Keep it going. Your real face ain't been that fun anyway. So look, you know, as always, we got to get going and skip some games that nobody really wants to talk about, but somebody needs to hear about. And just in case you're thinking about it, it's never going to be the Texans and get them out the way. So if that's what you're thinking, you need another show because this ain't it, because your girl is about the Texans. And remember, who name on the show. So if you think we skipping over my team, they could be O and whatever. We going to talk about them. So, D Jones, hit us up. Tell us, who we getting out the way?
All right, this week's Get Them Out the Way picks. We're going to start with Green Bay over San Fran. We got Denver taking on Atlanta. D. Jones and T-Berry got Atlanta. B and Q, they decided to roll with Denver. We got all of us are taking Kansas City to beat Carolina, Minnesota to beat Detroit. We got Detroit playing the football team. B-Pat thinks the football team. The rest of us are going with the Giants. The Raiders over the Chargers. Q rolling solo on this one with the Chargers. We got Miami versus Arizona. B-Pat trying to catch up this week because he rolling solo with Miami. And then finally, we got New England getting back in the win column with the win against the Jets. Back to you, Barry.
I love how you say we got New England getting back in the win column against the Jets. We hope so. That's all we're going to say on that.
Hey.
Now, look, our first game of the night that we're going to talk about is Seattle versus Buffalo. Now, I really wasn't sure which way to go with this one because, you know, we had Buffalo looking strong. You know, that Titans game still has us a little shaky, like, what can they put together? But I'm still riding with Seattle on the road. Usually, if this was a fan-based game, I would kind of hinder the other way a little bit just because Seattle, when they have long travel, they do play a little different, whether it's indoors or outdoors. That doesn't really matter for them because they're an outdoor team anyway, and it does get pretty chilly in Seattle. They're used to night games, but my take is with Seattle right now. D. Jones.
You already know where I'm going. After the first week, I picked against Russ. It ain't happening. So even though I think Seattle's been playing some really close games, their defense has been letting them down in some situations. But as long as they got Russ, and I'm gonna add one more, number 14, that man-child, that alien guy over there running people down, I'm rolling with Seattle. Coach, what you say?
I'm going with Seattle as well. I just don't see Buffalo beating them. It's going to be a struggle, but I mean, struggle back and forth. It's going to be a close game. Russ is going to pull it out, and Josh Allen might throw an interception or two.
Oh, so this not a field goal game for you?
Nah, it's not a field
Anyway,
goal game.
oh,
Come
okay.
on,
I'm
Q.
just checking.
It's on
I'm
you,
just
Q.
I'm gonna go with Seattle again this week. Man, D Jones made a good point about Seattle has been rolling, but their defense has been letting them down. But they ain't got to worry about that this week because they're playing up against Josh Allen. Josh Allen has been struggling the last 4 weeks. He's 2-2 against the Patriots, Jets, KC, and Titans, and against the Patriots, he only threw for 154 yards. Against KC, 122 yards. Against the Titans, 263 yards. And the only good game he had was against the Jets, which everybody has a good game against the Jets, so that don't really count.
Everybody.
So I'm gonna go ahead and go with Seattle in this game right here because I don't believe in Josh Allen at all.
everybody clap your hands. We all agree. I don't think that was a hard one to sell, actually.
No.
But, we're moving right along into our next matchup, and it includes a team that's from the AFC South. And as our favorite co-host, B. Pat, always says, he roots for whoever is playing an AFC South team. But I don't know if that's going to happen tonight. I'll let him tell you. But it's Baltimore versus Indy. Indy is at home. But I think Baltimore is looking for some bounce back against a tough loss against the Steelers. The game was looking closer than what we expected, right? I mean, I thought Steelers were going to pull away a little bit more, but I wasn't disappointed in a good game. But, like Lamar said, it got off to a rough start due to they had the turnover, his pick six, to start the game off. That kind of left them trying to gain momentum back and get in the game. And toward the end, I think they got cheated on the clock. So they know everybody's after them. He's apologizing for not making connections with Brown. I'm going to give it to Baltimore this week, even though Indy's at home. Plus, I just like rooting against AFC South. So, D. Jones.
So last week you did your spiel about Rivers, and I'm getting on the boat this week, and
Okay.
I'm going with Baltimore. I'm not trusting Phillip this week. He came through for me last week, helped me increase my league, but I'm going with Baltimore on this pick. Q, what you got?
I'm right there with you guys. I'm going with Baltimore in this pick as well. Like you said, like Gransberry said, you don't know which Phillip Rivers is going to show up. You don't know if the gunslinger going to show up after, the 40-year-old guy's going to show up. And on top of that, the Colts, they have a good record, but they really haven't beat anybody. They played the Jags, Vikes, Jets, Bears, Browns, Bengals, and Lions. Again, nobody. And the team that they did, lose against the Browns with some talent, they lost against them. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson going to do his thing in this game right here. Be
Coach.
Pat, what you got?
I'm going to take the old Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens.
Bring it back. Bring that football history back.
I mean, Baltimore is coming back off a loss, and they're saying they're one of the top AFC teams, along with Pittsburgh, along with Kansas City. So I think Baltimore is wanting to solidify themselves to be one of those top upper echelon teams. And like Q said, Colts ain't played nobody. So I mean, and you don't know which Phillip is going to show up. So I'm gonna go with the Lakeside in Baltimore on this one.
Look, let me tell you something. Just because I educate you on rivers and lakes, that don't mean you start using my things, okay? Okay. But after we over that. We done did the rivers and lakes. Let's move on to some Bulls and some Jags, and let's talk about that H-Town team versus Jacksonville this week. Now everybody knows, of course, Houston's only win has come against the Jags at home. It was some feel-good medicine after a coach change. Now, the guys had a tough loss after that, but, we're trying to get back in the winning circle. We're trying to do some things. As my guys Watt and Watson said so eloquently today, look, we're not in rebuild mode. We in get it together mode, one game at a time. It's always funny to me that people want you to give up on your team, but then they say you're not loyal to your team if you quit on your team.
Correct.
So I'm going to just encourage you as fans that do what's best for you. Every time. Now, some of y'all get on my nerves because you complain all the time, but maybe that's what's best for you. And I'm just telling you how I feel about it. I'm not asking you to believe in miracles, but we going to always get my H-Town rant. And my H-Town rant is you back your team 16 weeks. Otherwise, exit. Because I don't know why y'all here. I don't know why you want me to be down and sad and quit midway. That's how y'all relationships work. See, that's why I don't even be getting bothered with half of y'all, because you don't have your shit. Okay. Did I go off? Okay,
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
Anyway, we all know I'm picking H-Town. I'm going to tell y'all a funny story, even though y'all didn't want to hear it, but I'm going to still tell it to you. When I went to Jacksonville for my first road trip, the weather was gorgeous. And back in Texas, they were suffering from ice storms. So I got stuck in Jacksonville and my flight got delayed, canceled, extra days. And I was sending back sunny photos. Now, mind you, my team was doing very horrible at the time. That was the year we went 2-14 the second time. But you couldn't kill my joy. So I just want everybody to know out there, whatever you do, whatever comment you make, you see this smile, it happens every fall for the season. You can't kill it. You are not a dream killer. Know that I, Natasha Gransberry, the Gransberry, I'm a dream fulfiller. So I'm going to fulfill y'all dreams and stop talking about my team right for a second only and head on to D. Jones. And D. Jones, tell me who you picking.
Man, look, after all that, I'm just going to say amen. And the doors of the church are open. And I'm riding with them boys on Kirby. That's all that needs to be said about that. What you say, Coach?
I passed the collection plate.
Yes, you did. Hey, we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go with Texans. That feel good medicine is gonna be bound in Jacksonville. Hopefully, Watson get like 3 or 4 touchdowns to increase his touchdown passes and stuff like that. But I mean, and they're playing against a 6th-round rookie. Man, feel good medicine. Texas.
Don't talk about them deep rookies now.
Hey.
This game right here, this is a Deshaun Watson special. It's got it written all over it. It's got 275, 3 touchdowns, maybe 50 to 60 rushing yards in there as well. Jacksonville Jaguars, any fans who are watching, I'm sorry, but your team is super trash. I'd rather watch paint dry while eating a bowl of glass than to watch some Jacksonville Jaguars play some football right now. So, of course, with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and go with H-Town on this one, because Jacksonville is just trash.
Well, and in that case, trash pickup will come on Sunday and take it out, Houston. So we're going to move on to the next game, and it's going to take us up to 45 North.
Speaking
now,
of
we we always give some respect to our other team in Texas because that's how we do. We show neighboring respect to others as much as we can. But I think they're about to hit the L column again. And to quote a former Dallas player, y'all need to call in some old heads or something. Do y'all need to use y'all probably could use T.O. right now. I don't know because things are really rough, but I'm riding with Pittsburgh, and that's all I got to say about that.
Pittsburgh stays undefeated.
Coach.
Pittsburgh is going to get all the medicine they want. I mean, Dallas can't even figure out which quarterback they want to start. Q.
Man, it's like I am right now, black and yellow. I mean, give me Pittsburgh all day long in this game. They stay undefeated. Like you said, Dallas don't know who their quarterback is. Half the time, Dallas don't even want to play that day anyway. So, man, gonna give me Pittsburgh in this. This will probably be a blowout, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, look, as promised, I said that we would have some giveaways. And so the first one is fairly easy. I'm giving away a Vote t-shirt. I know y'all can't see it with my braids, but it's right there. It's right there. But I wanted to give away this shirt because people think voting is over. No, voting is a civic duty we have every year. I want to thank everybody that took their time out to vote by November 3rd or on November 3rd because you were heard. And know that now that is only step one. That's like putting the key in the door. We all now have to do the work to make sure the people that are appointed, won, or elected do their job. Hold them accountable, hold everything you can to them. Make the phone calls, write the letters, Call them out. That's our job to do. They're getting our taxpayer money to perform. Let's make sure they perform like we want our teams to do on Sunday. So the first question to win a shirt, which is fairly simple, name that stadium in the comments that I still need to attend to complete my tour. Look, as I say that, know that I only have 4 shirts to give away. I have a small, a medium, 2 extra large, and a large. So if you can't find a way to fit in one of those shirts, then don't answer, because I don't want to hear I can't fit that shirt or you going to give me another one, because the answer is no. Okay, I done told you the sizes. The question again is, what stadium do I need to attend to complete my tour of all 31 stadiums? I'm taking the first 4 correct answers. We're down to 3 because Jay Reed has already answered correctly in the comments. So congrats to Jay. I'm not going to put up the answer so that I can give other people a chance to answer the question. So I'll repeat the question again later. And for right now, Jay, you will get to pick a shirt. You should inbox me what size you want. So that's how we're giving them out. If Jay picks the size you wear, oh, well, use it for your dog. Your dog still needs your vote, too, because you get pet laws put in place. Okay, so we're going to move right along because we have some other important games to cover. And it's really our, game of the week. And it's exactly why I wanted to have Q here with us tonight, because our game of the week is New Orleans versus Tampa Bay.
Seattle.
No, it's not.
I know we missed that game, though.
Okay, well, then you should answer me in the chat like everybody else, and then instead of interrupting me while I'm talking. But that's okay. You'll figure out how to get it together. But I did mention Seattle versus Buffalo as my first game. It's the very first game I mentioned.
Chicago and Tennessee, I'm sorry.
Yeah, which was the question in the chat had you answered. So let's go with Brandon doesn't read the chat. So if Brandon had read the chat, he would have known I asked, do I need to go back and catch Chicago versus Tennessee? But thank you, Coach, for that late call. That sometimes happens with refs. By the way, Coach Pat is also a ref. So now y'all see why he late. Late whistle. All right, so before we go to the game of the week, all right, since I don't know how he think he whispering on live into the microphone, but okay, that's another issue. We're going to go back and cover Chicago versus Tennessee because that is another AFC South opponent. Look, I said I'm riding with Tennessee. They at home. Chicago's still kind of having buyer's remorse. They don't know if they should have moved on to Foles, if they should go back to Trubisky. Trisket or biscuit, I don't know, all for $1. I'm still staying with Tennessee. D. Jones?
Tennessee. We can keep it moving. What you say?
Okay.
Tennessee. Chicago. I'm sorry.
Oh, you going with Chicago? You lost your mind, bro. I'm going with Tennessee on this one, man. You keep believing in Nick Foles, and in the words of the late great Bernie Mac, you're gonna be in trouble. So I'm gonna go with Tennessee Titans on this one, man. The Bears have lost to the Rams and the Saints in back-to-back weeks. They average 20 points per game. The yards per game, their last 4 in the NFL. You keep believing in them Bears if you want to, but I'm gonna go with Tennessee Titans on this one.
Yeah, so basically I didn't have to waste my time going back.
That's why he didn't want you to forget it, because he's solo on that. He's still trying to catch up.
Oh, he was trying to get some feel good medicine to get some attention.
The only reason I picked up Chicago is because Tennessee is struggling.
Oh, okay. Anyway, even with they struggling, they can stick Henry out there. I don't know what the Bears gonna do, but as D. Jones likes to say, sure.
Sure.
And so moving on to game of the week, and again, why I said I invited our guy Q to the show, nephew Q, because he is a diehard, longtime Bucks fan. Mm-hmm. Why? I don't know. Because the ship that's sitting there looks like it stays underwater. Oh, but hey, fun fact: Tampa Bay was my first road trip. So I have a little sentimental value there. Of course we beat you guys then, and it is what it is. Hell, we've been on the streak with beating y'all for a while, so it's kind of a good one.
Why you bringing up old stuff?
Well, I'm trying to act like our other teams do. That's all they do.
Okay,
They bring
okay.
up old
Old
stuff.
stuff,
So,
okay.
but it's nothing personal.
You right.
It's just the vibe. But then again, we got to talk about this because it's New Orleans versus Tampa Bay. And the cool thing is, of course, Tampa Bay is sitting in first position for the division, but it's a very close race. And we know that we will see this actually could put the Saints over Tampa Bay if they're able to get the win. We don't really know. I'm starting to have this thing like, Brady is his own version of the Brady Bunch. We don't know which Brady is going to show up. Is he going to have a Marsha moment, or is he going to be a Jan, I just can't tell sometimes because I'm like, I know his history, right? When you say bring it up history, I bet you want to tell me Brady's history, right? So history does matter. So it gives him the benefit of the doubt. Last week, I think they got away with a win because Jones just wasn't as efficient of a QB, and it helped them. But Tampa Bay should win. They should. But for whatever reason, I'm going with the Saints just because I just don't know when Tampa Bay wants to be consistent, so that's my only reason. But I will give a shout out that we have to talk about. AB is back in the league. He is active, he is present, he is accounted for, and he showed up today in his TB12 hat. So he's looking to catch a few passes, and maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. So I know I'm probably not your favorite fan this week, Q, but that's okay because you're supposed to believe in your team. So we're going to save you for last so you can talk to us about your team, and I'm going to let D. Jones tell me his pick of the week.
Yeah, I normally roll with Drew Brees and them boys over there, but one person I cut for over Drew is Tom Terrific. So when Tom Terrific show up and he's going to have AB over there, Gronk has been catching touchdowns the last couple of weeks too, which, he should be rounded into form. Them boys, I think they'll be just fine. The first time they played this year, it was a competitive game, but Tom had a few picks that was, kind of carry over from last year. I don't think that's going to happen this week. So I'm going with Tampa Bay. Coach, who you got?
I'm going to go ahead with Tampa Bay on this one. I mean, you got Brady, AB, Gronk, and Mike Evans. New Orleans has a good defense on the pass aspect, but can Drew Brees pass more than 5 yards in air? And they showed the stat that he's only throwing 6 yards a pass in air. So I'm gonna go with Tampa on this one.
So one question is Michael still inactive?
No,
I saw it was questionable. It was day to day, so I mean,
it's day to day.
Yeah, it's day to day.
Okay,
Yeah.
so side note, so I can get my complaint out. I usually have a complaint about we do this, and then later in the week, it's discovered that people aren't playing, and I don't have a way to change my pick. And so D. Jones hates me to say this, but I feel like I don't have to be committed to my pick. And I was committed to the Saints at the start of my pick, but Q, I'm gonna back you. I'm gonna change my pick and I'm gonna roll with you.
Lord.
But guess what?
Here we
Guess
go
what?
again.
Guess
At least
what,
before
Q?
the show is over. At least
Guess what, Q? Guess what, Q? I'm rolling with you. I ain't even worried about them other two dudes right now. Okay, they not even here.
Yes,
It's me and you. It's me
sir.
and you. So with that in mind, Q, it's all you.
Well, I'm a raw. This is easy for me, Tampa Bay. Like D. Jones said, the first game of the season when they played each other, it was a fill-out game for Tampa Bay because no preseason, no training camp. So Tom Brady had to get used to everybody on the fly. Like you said, he threw 2 interceptions. One was a pick six, which cost them dearly in that game. They lost 34-23. But they actually outgained the Saints in their games as far as yards. The Bucs had 310 to the Saints 271, but it's not going to be that story this game. The X factor in this game is not going to be who people think it is. Of course, you got Rob Gronkowski, you got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin is 50-50, AB is going to be playing, but the X factor in this game is Scotty Miller. He's actually leading the team in receiving yards, and he's a killer out the slot. And everybody knows Tom Brady loves players out of the slot, so he's going to be the X factor in this game. I see Scotty Miller having 3 to 4 catches, maybe 50 yards, maybe a touchdown in there. So pay attention to him, as I got Tampa Bay killing in this game. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give you a score, baby. I'm gonna give you a score, man.
Give it to me.
We're going 34-17 in this joint. Because
Ooh.
we got the third ranked defense right now. Although it didn't look like it's Sunday, Daniel Jones picked us apart as best as he could. But like you said, Gransberry, if it was anybody else, we would have took that L on Monday night. But I think the defense gets it together. Coach, you know this. Sometimes you have those trap games, and I think there was a trap game for the Bucs. They was looking ahead to Sunday's game against the Saints. They really wasn't up for it. And so I think they'll be prepared and ready. Todd Bowles is going to have that defense moving and grooving. Devin White, Levante David, man, don't get me talking, man. I'll let y'all go ahead.
You got it. Look, you just shook him on the field. I mean, I was acting like I was a running back. I'm like trying to juke a few.
But yeah, I got to, because, you know, like you said, Gransberry, my Tampa Bay Bucks, we ain't been good for a long time. So, you know, this season, I got to live it up, baby. I got to live it up this season. So, yeah, we going to blow this thing off 34-17. We coming for you, Drew Brees, baby.
Look, you know, what a difference a year makes, huh? Because that energy, I'm sure you didn't have it at that level. You was like, man, could we get a break last year? I'm sure. I mean, when you got the same number of touchdowns as you do pick sixes, it get kind of rough for you out there.
It
but
does.
but, you know, you held on strong. Let that be a testament to you out there. Sometimes you got to hold on. Change is coming.
It's been hard. It's been hard. We had the first quarterback who was probably in the runnings for Defensive Player of the Year last year, man. It was rough.
Oh man. Okay, we're not gonna hey. We're not gonna let you run him into the ground just yet. Man. Look. What I also want to make sure we talk about is we're gonna go back to, you know, another trivia question, because I am going to give out. It is not autographs. Let's be clear. Don't ask. It's not. I'm giving away a copy of Deshaun Watson's book. And I pass it on, and I will mail it to you free, of course, right? You don't have to pay shipping and handling. I'm only giving away one. And the first person to get the question right. Look, I don't have time to go through it with y'all. It's the first one in the comments, okay? That's the rules, and they my rules. I don't have to give away the book. I got to say all that because some of y'all be acting like you want to fight me in my inbox about you gave the answer and you didn't get to win, and that ain't fair. You know what? It ain't fair that your mama picked you, but you still here. So let's keep it moving. Now, where she still picked to keep you. So, all right, for ladies' rights. Anyway, all right, the question is, okay, Deshaun Watson won his first game on his birthday. Who did he beat? All right, so we're going to hope for the answer, wait for the answer. You don't have long to get the answer, because when we get off live, I ain't taking no more answers. So you can't watch this and replay and answer any other trivia questions, okay? You will not win, all right? Now, so, look, I just want to go back to, you know, this Tampa Bay Saints thing, okay? I don't really like it, but I look forward to seeing how many times we'll hear the cannon go off on the boat, because we know y'all don't get to hear it that often, so y'all still getting used to using it again. So
we are.
Yeah. Now here's a tidbit fun fact about being a fan. So that's one thing they do at the Bucs Stadium. They fire that cannon off that ship every time there's a score. But when Brady was in Foxborough, they did the guns every time they scored. So it's kind of like that's his, you know, same type of deal. You know what I'm saying? So he had the Patriots, and now he got the Bucs. But you know, those are fun things for me as a fan to visit stadiums. And so when the world opens up, I encourage everybody, you know, people don't think of Tampa Bay as like the place to go for football, but it really is. They have great tailgating, food places. The airport is like less than 15 minutes from the stadium. So if you got to get back home to your JOB, your wife or your husband, your side or your straight piece, I don't know, whatever you need to get back to, you can get hopped right onto the airport after the game. So that's a fun thing about that I think about when I think about Tampa Bay, and it's gonna always be a special place for me because, well, it was my first road trip. So nobody has given an answer to my question in the comments. So that means nobody will get the book this week unless you answer before we get off live. And everybody is about to tell us where you can find them on social media. I want to again thank Nephew Q for joining us from Beyond the Game. And he will tell you more about how you can find him in a second. And so, D. Jones, tell the people how they can find you.
All right, you can find me on Instagram at djones9804, on Twitter, that boy G Jones.
Coach Pat.
Instagram and Twitter, Coach B Pat.
And Nephew Q, tell them where they can find you and when they can watch your show.
Hey, look, all you got to do, the link is down there. You can follow me on Beyond the Game KY on Instagram and Twitter, and of course, Beyond the Game on Facebook as well. You can also check out previous shows on the YouTube channel KY Beyond the Game, and we go live on Mondays and Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
All right, now look. Your girl, the Gransberry, just wants to say thank you for voting. Voting. I really appreciate it. I can't, go through a whole list right now, but I had so many friends win their elections, this season, and I'm so happy for them to take on new roles. And so welcome for them and congrats again. Now, as always, you can find me at the Gransberry on everything. I keep it simple, it's straightforward, but I would like you to follow our additional Instagram page, the Gransberry Chronicles. So it's just the Gransberry and add the word Chronicles so that you can follow the podcast specifically and keep up with all different shows, because guess what? It's not just a sports podcast. Right now we're doing pick'ems, but other things will be added over time. So Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, the Gransberry. As always, you can get the Gransberry Gridiron Guide at thegransberry.com. I'm now on Kindle. That's right. So for you that don't like to waste paper, you can get my book on Kindle. Ladies, you can sit right next to your man watching the game and have my book with you to help with those flags if you like. Or you could show him a few tips and tricks too about tailgating and getting tickets, because don't be fooled. I get plenty of requests to get assistance with how to get tickets to games. They don't have it all figured out either. Right. So as always, everybody, we'll catch you next time.